G'day, welcome to 5 Minutes with Fitzy. Peter Fitzsimons is here. Hello, Pete.
James,
We're in the fancy studio again.
We are. Nice. I think we've upgraded.
We have, and it feels good, I tell you that.
Because we've been pulling in the big ratings because we tune in. When we're on deck, they watch us.
Do they?
Yes, they do. I get a huge response to this.
There you go. The internet's an amazing place. The Wallabies and the All Blacks, they will go head-to-head this year. A lot of argy-bargy to get this Bledisloe Cup series set in stone. It was looking like it was all going to be here in Australia at some stage.
And right away I say this is a bit odd. I don't think you and I have discussed a matter of rugby union since the plague set in. I mean, the plague basically wiped out all discussion of rugby, just about all playing of rugby until recent times when the half-assed Super Series took place.
You weren't a fan of it?
Oh, look, I'm not a fan. I don't know. I feel like 2020 is blown away for rugby, and so but I am interested. I genuinely am interested. Bledisloe, there's something in my bones, and I think all rugby people's bones, of Bledisloe. Show me people in gold jersey running at people in black jerseys. I'm interested and I'm in it and I want it to take place, so long as it's COVID safe.
There was never, I just could never envisage a scenario here where New Zealand wouldn't be hosting some of these test matches. So the first two, October 11, Wellington, October 18, the following Sunday in Auckland. We're going to see afternoon rugby league and Eden Park.
Yes.
I mean, that's the match won already. You know that. 86 is the last time.
I once scored a try at Eden Park. We got thumped 52 points to 4.
Wow.
But it was my 4.
Well played. Nice. One of the few Wallabies that would have scored there.
Sadly, it wasn't for the Wallabies. New South Wales. Anyway, the interesting thing, Dave Rennie, the new coach, so he comes in and he was thumping the table saying, I can tell you, if we don't get a relaxation of this, we won't be playing. To which the answer is, Dave, settle down. You're the Wallaby coach. At the moment, rugby union in Australia is on the bones of its arse, to use the colloquial expression. And Rugby Australia needs revenue, needs eyeballs, needs to remind the world that the Wallabies still exist, rugby in Australia still exists, we need to play these matches. And so, had he held his line, him saying the Wallabies won't be playing, I think he would have been told, you're an employee of Rugby Australia, they bloody well will be playing. As it is, commendably, there was negotiation, and in the end, as I understand it, instead of like 14 days quarantine, they'll be in New Zealand for 3 days. They'll get tested. They get tested every day. There'll be seriously severe, strict protocols, but then they'll be allowed to train together.
The relationship, obviously, a little strained between New Zealand Rugby League and Rugby Australia.
Rugby Union.
New Zealand Rugby Union. How does it go from here? Because you talk about you're not a huge fan of the Super Rugby Australian version. What do you envision for Super Rugby beyond 2020?
2021, it'll be a different ballgame. I mean, I saw a thing on Channel 9 News the other day, which I thought was underdone. I thought there'd be more of a hoopla about it, but they were talking about a new COVID test, 15 or 20 seconds. You can basically...
The saliva one.
Yeah, that one. So my view is when the football season starts up again, I'm hoping that we're not business as usual, but I'm hoping things will be so much more advanced in terms of how to live in a COVID-safe environment, including football. At that point, Super Rugby, I think, obviously will be back, and the absolute core of it is Australia, New Zealand. They are the ones that'll attract the eyeballs. South Africa may drift off to the Northern Hemisphere in terms of because they're in the same time zone. For your interest, in 1984, I was playing in Italy, and the Springbok 5'8", Nas Bota, we used to call him Nasty Boita, he would play in South Africa on a Saturday, fly through the night to get to Italy, and he'd play that was the beginnings of the jet set age. But I think that the future of Super Rugby, the core, will be New Zealand and Australia. And the truth of New Zealand rugby is they need us as much as we need them. The line in America used to be, what's good for General Motors is good for America. In this part of the world, what's good for Australian rugby is good for rugby, and it's good for New Zealand rugby. They love to beat us on the field. But that's the irony. I mean, it's like with rugby league internationals. To a certain extent, it's lovely to see Kangaroos win by 50 points over England or New Zealand, whoever. And they're trying to win by that much. But the truth of it is, for the integrity of the competition, to attract interest, there has to be tension. There has to be, which way is this going to go? And so that's the paradox for New Zealand. They want to thump us on the field, but frankly, they can't afford to thump us by 50 points every time because the thing will die.
Well, let's hope they don't come October 11 when this series gets underway.
Well, Dave Rennie, I just want to say about Dave Rennie, I mean, it's interesting. Bob Dwyer's success, again, this is ancient history, but Bob Dwyer in 1989 said, to win the 1991 World Cup, I need to bring younger men in now to blood them and that's what he did. So there were three particular players, Jason Little, Tim Horan and Phil Kearns, all of whom were thrown into the cauldron in 1989. And by 91 they were world beaters. And it looks to me like Dave Rennie's starting to do that now. Bring on the young ones, blood them, get them strong.
Let's hope it happens. Thanks, Peter.
Thank you.
5 minutes or so with Fitzy.